Hey, welcome back. We have 19 properties today, plus three that, funny enough, I talked about this earlier in the week, is that the boards are now divorced, the real estate boards. So now there's two separate sets of information. So we've basically got to go through and look at one, look at the other, see which one doesn't have the information. So very interesting times in real estate. The consumer probably sees most of the stuff on the public sites, but the problem with the public sites is that they're delayed. There's a lag in information showing up, and so with us is we'll try and fill in the gaps but get you the information faster. We'll start off with the first one at 292 Wilson. It's at 239.9. Really the cheapest property in town, and the reason why is number one, there's surface parking versus having a garage, so that has a downward effect on the prices. And also we've got these little things called baseboard, electric baseboard heat, and so they can be more expensive if you run them. I know people that actually have cheaper bills because of electric baseboards because they only heat the rooms where they're in. However, you've got to be really careful because generally the hydro is more expensive than the gas. I do like the way this kitchen looks. I like the brickwork there. I think they've done some good work inside this home. It looks like they've replaced the carpets, kept it clean and tidy, and did some work in the bathrooms too. So I definitely think there's a buyer for this home. The value comes mostly from having the baseboard heat and not having a true garage. So Deverell is at 322, 250, and you've got a two-car parking in the driveway. The street itself is quite nice. This is an Ashfield or a Cherry Hill. It's at 1050 square feet. And the pots really don't do this one, I think, justice. Because, I mean, you look at it, you say, okay, that means there's no storage for the pots. That's the first thing I think most buyers would actually think of. So 2 bedrooms upstairs. And the second bedroom is big enough for a queen bed, but you can't do a lot much more in that room. And then you've got a nice outdoor space here as well. Just a little balcony, something simple. This is a great condo alternative. There's no condo fees with this one. So even if you look at something, a condo townhouse at $275 and they've got $300 fees a month, this one actually surprisingly carries for pretty similar amounts when you do the math. It's a little high. I mean, we've seen even in the last 30 to 60 days, we've seen that model sell for as low as 302. 310, that kind of stuff. So at 322, they might get it because there's not a lot out there right now, but there's certainly justification for a lower price than that. So Hampshire Way is at 359. So these are 3 stories as well. They do have about a $60 maintenance fee on top, and they're 1357 square feet. I get that they're new. I get that they're by Main Street, and they have some amenities close by. You're closer to the GO train and so on. However, I think that you could buy a Mattamy version of this without the condo fee, without the $60 fee every month, and you could probably pay less than $359. So equivalent value for me indicates that I would probably go towards a Mattamy home and save some money and get something without the fees. Lydia is a building lot. It's 50 by 150, and it's at 369, which is about the going rate for anything in town. You could buy places with homes on them that actually have this kind of pricing. What you want to make sure of is that you've got utility hookups, that you're not paying $20,000 or $30,000 extra to have those kind of hookups on the property. So anyways, you want to look at some of those things that maybe you don't see immediately in the listing, just to make sure you're protecting yourself from hidden costs. Willett Terrace is at 389.9. It's an Emery model, 1370 square feet with a finished basement. And maybe the kitchen, the cabinets aren't the best in the world. I've seen better, but I think the value is definitely here for the size of the home plus that basement at 389. That's what you get pretty much. So Gifford is at 397.9, and it's a little bigger. It's 1585 square feet. It's a middle townhouse, and there's not a lot of hardwood floors. They spent some money in the kitchen. Between spending money in the kitchen and hardwood floors, I'd say put the money in the kitchen because anybody could put hardwood floors in, but it's a lot harder to rip out a kitchen. California shutters there, and then they've got a fenced yard too. Gifford's a nice quiet street, and I would say that 397 is reflective of what they have been selling for. Thompson is at 419, and pretty horrible set of photos. Hard to really tell what model this is. It's just, yeah, it's kind of a mess with all the sort of detail and sconces is, I just don't know how many people this would appeal to. Wise Crossing is at $439. It is semi-detached. I believe it's about 1,800 square feet. You've got a pretty open concept design. It looks like the counters have been upgraded and completely move-in ready. So with the 4 bedrooms semi-detached, I think that this one certainly is going to attract interest. That's the going rate. Now you get up to this one on Fasken, it's a little bit bigger. It's more than 2,000 square feet at $459. It's in the range. I just don't know if people are going to love this one inside. They can appreciate the hardwood floors. The kitchen's a bit lighter. They've got the California shutters. They've got the glass door in the shower. Probably close, but I don't know if someone's going to pay them full for that. Stevenson's at $569. It's a Newgate model. Most of the Newgates have some sort of siding, or it's not as you don't see as much of the brick elevations. So you've got one here. It's a pretty quiet street, and you've got a good-looking kitchen. And you've got hardwood stairs on this model. The 4 bedrooms are all a good size. The master isn't huge, but that balances off with the other bedrooms. You've got some interlock in the back with some trees. Overall, I'd say this one's a winner for sure. Great listing. Not a whole lot of stuff in this area for sale right now. This one on Scott looks good. Excuse me, at $619, about 2,500 square feet. Similar to the Fieldgate Chester model, but I find this one's a lot better. Heathwood Home 9-foot ceilings. You've got this nice winding staircase. I like when things aren't just boxy and angular, where there's actually some different visual effects. And so the staircase here is the centerpiece of this home. You've got a family room, and then you've got the dining room that kind of opens up back here by the staircase. You've got an open concept kitchen, well upgraded, and you can see just the effects here. It's very nice. It's just non-linear, and you've got nice paint colors. Surprisingly, that green trim actually looks really nice, and it's interesting. It's something you don't see in every home. Double sinks in the master, and a pretty good sized piece of property too, about 44 wide, and it's a little bit wider in the front because it's on the curve. I think it's got nice curb appeal, and at $619, it's a 3 bedroom, which might hold it back a little bit. But for the size, we've seen some what I consider to be inferior homes selling for around that price. So Cedric is at $619. Don't have a lot of information beyond the fact that it's about 2,500 square feet. It's a Plan 12, which would mean that it's almost like the Woodlily model. So it's got to be half decent to be hitting around the $619. There's one that's at $599 with a finished basement. Cousins is at $659. We're talking about 3,000 square feet. Vanderwood, and it's the largest home they built on a 46 by 80 foot property. You've got hardwood floors, moldings, and I mean the kitchen looks great. I mean, I'm wondering if built-in appliances, pot lights, they've got it all hooked up. I'm wondering if they're actually taking a big hit for not having grass in the backyard. I think this one's actually worth more. I would rather rip out the interlock, lay some sod down, get this one for a deal, because we've seen this home sell up in the higher sixes for the really nice model. So I think this one's a really, really good deal. I think there's a lot of positives here. They spent a lot of money on upgrades, and maybe because there's just no green in the back, they're taking the hit, but it's easy to fix. So that's nice stuff there. I like that one a lot. And if you don't want grass, all the more bonus. But that's one of the better deals in that price range for sure. Lower baseline is at $688, $888, and so we've got about a 300 by 165 foot property, which ends up being probably about an acre. The kitchen looks decent. They've done some moldings here, and you just want to check your zoning maps. With the bungalow, you've got bigger footprint, so that's a good thing. The basement looks like a good size. I would just want to know what's going on around me, so you check the official plan, check your zoning maps. Very important. But for the actual house itself, for the size of the property, $688 seems like it's within shooting range. So McDougall, 712, 2,600 square feet, usually going to be above, above 3,000 square feet is usually what you see above 7. And it's done well inside, that's for sure. They've put a lot of money into it. I just think that for the size of the home, it's just not, I don't think it's playing at 712 level. It says there's a separate entrance too in the basement, so that's always something that you could flesh out as an opportunity. Peregrine, same thing, 2,600 square feet at 728. It's nice inside. I'm not disputing that. I just don't think a buyer's going to see the value at this price compared to what else is out there. I think there's just bigger homes with similar upgrades for that price. Cunningham's been around for a while, and I'm surprised because it's on a nice sized piece of property. It's on like 3 acres. It's a nice sprawling bungalow. It's got 3-car garage. The kitchen's in good shape, right? You've got some nice appliances here. The cabinets look good. You've got nice bright pot lights. It's all done. And so at that price, I would say maybe it's the 2 bedrooms. That it could be something where the 2 bedroom is the thing holding it back. But I like it. I think it's a good looking home. First line is at 925. We're talking about 3,800 square feet. There's a separate outbuilding that you could use for hobby or possibly even like a little workshop. And then you've got this one here at 4,800 square feet on McLaren. So no pictures there. What you can do is you can check the link that we leave below the video, and you can actually see if there's anything. As soon as the photos are up, you see the photos right there. So we got 3 bonus ones that, because of the board shift and everything else, is that these ones aren't showing up on the board that we normally review stuff. So we're going to go over to the Oakville Milton Real Estate Board. The other one is all Toronto Real Estate Board feed. And there's a couple that popped up on this system that didn't pop up there. So the first one up is Child's. And so we had the other condo townhouse that we reviewed. This one is it is gas forced air. There is a garage. You've got your dining room that overlooks your family room, which is nice because you've even got this extra little transom window right here. And so the kitchen looks okay. I mean, you can buy peel and stick tiles for less than $1 a square foot that actually really improve the look of the home. And you can see some wood floors upstairs. There's actually, the nice thing about this board is you can put 20 photos, and you've got some decent green in the back there too. So it's a good distance to the mall, to Target, which, by the way, I like Target. Some people gave it a hard time when they launched. I think they did a pretty good job. We've got Evans Terrace here, which is around 1,500 square feet. It's on the part of Evans Terrace that doesn't face dairy. And so you've got some laminate floors here, a little bit more basic inside. At $394 though, we've seen this particular model with a finished basement sell over $400,000. So they're probably not that far off on price. And then we've got this one on McNiven, which is about 1 acre at $699. It compares to something like the one we showed on Lower Baseline. And I think it looks really nice inside. Now there's some dated elements to it, but I think it's a nice open concept floor plan. Again, you've got the dining room looking over the living room like the condo townhouse on Child's. I mean, that looks a little bit old school to me, but it's funny because the HDR even makes that look better, which is wild. So the photography really matters. I think this one gives a good impression. There's lots of ceiling angles. The kitchen is a little bit older, but you can work with that. Those are wood cabinets. You can get someone to refinish and stain them, and they can do a great job with something like that. Green countertops too to match the tiles in the bathroom. That's a little bit old school, especially the mirror. It's a funky mirror. And then you've got a fair bit of space down in the basement, big wood deck, and then you've got lots of trees around you. So there it is. That's the list. We've got 19 plus a bonus 3, and we may have to do that for the next little while until we figure out how the boards are going to, figure out the future. Are we really going to have 2 distinct real estate boards, or are we just going to have one that tends to kind of get all the information? We'll see. We'll do the best we can, and have a great weekend. If you're coming to town, let us know. We'd love to meet with you, have a chat, and just talk about your plans, how we can help you stay safe, and have it be the most profitable experience possible. We got the buyer class coming up May 25th, so mark your calendar for that. And if you haven't registered, it's miltonbuyerclass.com. Okay, have a great time. We'll see you back on Monday.